In this video, we're going to talk about solving quadratic equations, but we're going to focus on them after they're factored. In the next video, we'll talk about how do we factor them, which we've already done. We'll just tie things together. But let's look at our first example. What if we have this scenario happening? And if you read the question of the day, what I focused on was when I multiply two numbers together, and one of those numbers is 0, the entire equation is going to be 0. So think about that. In this situation here, I'm multiplying x times whatever x plus 8 is. It's clearly going to be two numbers that get multiplied. If I plug in any number for x, both of those are going to have a value. Well, if either one of them has a value of 0, you're going to end up with 0 as your final result. So in these two pieces, all you have to do to solve these is take each piece and say what value makes each piece 0. Well, this one's kind of done for me. Over here, if I subtract 8 from both sides, I'm going to end up with x equals negative 8. Well, let's see how that works. If I go back to the original and I plug in 0 for all the x's, I'm going to end up with 0 times 0 plus 8 is 8. And yeah, I'm going to end up with 0. So this is one of my solutions. Well, what if I plug in negative 8? Well, I end up with negative 8 times the quantity, negative 8 plus 8. Well, I'm going to end up with negative 8 times 0. Negative 8 times 0 is also 0. So both of those are my solutions. So once you factor this thing, the key is just figuring out what two numbers can I plug in, or 3 or 4, depending on how many variations there are, to figure out what solves the equation. Let's try another one. So what if we have a constant out front now? 7r, and we have r minus 4. All that equals 0. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to say, when does 7r equal 0? When does r minus 4 equal 0? Well, in this case, I divide by 7. I get r equals 0. There's one of my solutions. Over here, I add 4 to both sides. And I get r equals 4. There's my other solution. Not really much to this. You just got to take your time and solve it. What if we have two sets of parentheses? So I have 3x minus 4 and 3x plus 1 equals 0. Same exact concept. Set each one equal to 0. In this case, you'd add 4 to both sides. You get 3x equals 4. Divide through by 3, and feel free to leave this as a mixed number. There's one of my solutions. In the other one, subtract 1 from both sides. Divide by 3. And you have your two solutions. What if there's 3 terms? What if it's 3x minus 1 times 2x plus 5 times 4x minus 3 equals 0? Just means you have 3 equations to solve. Solve that one. Solve that one. And solve that one. In the top one, add 1 to both sides. Divide through by 3. And you end up with x equals 1/3 as one of your possible solutions. Subtract 5 from both sides. Divide by 2. You end up with x equals negative 5/2 as one of your solutions. Add 3 to both sides. Divide by 4. And you end up with 3/4. Now in this case, because there were 3 terms, I have 3 possible answers. In the next lesson, we're going to talk about is what if it's not already in factored form, and we're going to use the factoring things that we've talked about so far to get it there, and then we'll tie those two combinations together. If you have any questions, reach out.